गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. We are in our Kathopanishad, part 1, chapter 3 or third Valli, and we are going to start today the 5th verse, and in the 4th verse we are looking at the who is the jiva, who is the soul, who is the conditioned consciousness. Soul is conditioned consciousness, jiva is conditioned consciousness. And what did we say? Jiva is actually the expression of consciousness through matter is happening. You cannot do anything about it. It is a natural phenomena which is going on. I gave all the examples last week. You can listen to it again. If you put a bucket of water, the sun will shine, reflect exactly the same way. The equipments come, the panchakoshas come, life will express through it. But the question is that life which is expressing in you and the life which is expressing in a Mahatma, a realized master, what is the difference? This is where application comes. He is not identified with his body. We are identified with our body. And we are not only identified with our panchakoshas, we are also identified with everything that is attached to these panchakoshas. This is where we are going wrong, and spirituality is correcting this mistake. And for that, you don't have to remove the body, the panchakoshas. You don't have to remove them. You have to stop giving attention to them. But attention has to go somewhere all the time. You cannot live without giving attention somewhere as long as you are expressing through this. So where do you put your attention? You put where it is worth. You put it on the Paramatman, you put it on the Atman, you put it on the conscious principle, the eternal witness that you are. Be that. Mannatha Shri Jagannatha Madguru Shri Jagadguru Madatma Sarva Bhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The Lord of my mind is the Lord of the total world. Mannatha Shri Jagannatha. Jagannath means Jagat Nath. Is the Nath. So Nath is same. First it was my mind and the other one is Jagannath is the Lord of the world. Madguru. Jagat Guru, my Guru and the Guru of the total world is one and the same, is the Guru principle. With this, because Lord alone appears in our life as the Guru. Whether it is the scriptures, whether it is a person, whether it is an experience, When this starts clicking, the third stage is Madatma Sarva Bhutatma. That this, the Atma in me and the Atma everywhere is the same Atma everywhere. Just as my mind alone is in and through all the beings, inert and sentient, in the dream. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. And for that, for bringing this transformation within us, Yamaraj, through Nachiketa, is teaching us through the analogy of the chariot, where he said, the owner of the chariot is the jiva, or the individual. The body of the chariot itself is the body. The horses are the senses. The reins are the mind. And then it was told, to control the horses and the mind is directly proportional to the strength of the charioteer. And where the charioteer is sitting, whom do you give that place to in your life? Do you give it to your wife? Do you give it to your husband? Do you give it to your children? Do you give it to your fears? Do you give the place of the charioteer to your memories? Do you give it to some Indra or some demigod? Or do you give it to Harry Potter? He is also having a lot of abilities. Or do you give that place of the chariot to the Supreme Lord? So this correction, scriptures cannot make for us. This correction, shifting of attention, the guru cannot make for the student. No guru can make it for the student. The student has to be available. And we saw that quality in the first chapter of the Katha Upanishad. The quality of the student through Nachiketa. So in this way, it was told, the one who enjoys is the conditioned one. And because he enjoys, yes, I remember now, and when he enjoys, he also wants to enjoy again, and therefore to enjoy again and repeat the same experience, he goes on acting. Please. So that enjoyment creates attraction. Attraction towards what? Attraction towards the object. Moha towards the objects. And as a result, he is not ready to listen to his intellect. Moha is in the mind, not in the intellect. Intellect's job is only one: discrimination. If you think that you are discriminating by taking care of your family, no, you are only living a life of attachment. No, I'm doing my duty. No, duty is not in the intellect. That is, that sense of duty towards the world, towards the family, towards this body is only because we have accepted this all as true. Where? So is that discrimination? That is not discrimination. Discrimination means only one thing: to differentiate between the real and the unreal, changeless and the changing, infinite and the finite. So we were looking at it, uh, uh, that that the that when the chariot is being run by the horses, it will collapse. When the reins are not under control, they may snap because each horse is pulling whichever way. And last week we also told you that the reins have to be at the right tension. They cannot be too loose, they cannot be too tight. Only an adept charioteer will be able to invoke that type of strength and ability to steer, to control through the reins, control the horses. Otherwise, horses' job is only one, to go in their paths, on their road of enjoyment or their road of interaction. So we want our growth to happen in such a way, we want our transformation to happen in such a way that the reins should not break or snap. That is, the mind should not snap. Those people whose mind snaps every now and then, kya hai? They are always barking, never speaking straight, always reacting. What happened? Why did you come? Why are you not going? So much traffic, goes on and on and on. See? And the second thing that must not happen is body must not break. Because without body you cannot do sadhana. Mind must not break. Both are required, no, for the sadhana. If we want to take the chariot to a proper destination, chariot has to be intact and the reins has to be intact. If reins break, you cannot control the horses. If the mind flips, you cannot control the horses. So, what is the conclusion? The conclusion is that the mind, not mind, the Atman is important, the body is important, the senses are important as a motivating power, but they become a motive power only when they are synced, with the intellect through the mind. Otherwise, the whole thing will collapse. And this is the picture that was given to us, what you call, last week in the 4th verse. And then then it was told, evam cha sati vakshmana ratha kalpanaya vaishnavasya padasya atmataya pratipattihi upapadyate nanyatha swabhavan atikramat. And when what we had just explained, if we remember all that, then through this kalpana, this is only a kalpana. The kalpana means imagination. Through this imagination, through this analogy of the chariot, one can reach the Vaishnava pada. Vaishnava pada is the Atma pada or Paramatma pada. But why you are using three different names? Atma Pada, Vaishnava Pada, Paramatma Pada. These differences only the individual has created. In Paramatma or Ishvara, there is no difference like this. He is very clear. Atma and Paramatma never speak because they are one and the same. For speech to happen, manifestation has to be there. What is the first manifestation? Ishvara. Brahman or the reality, it cannot present you scriptures, it cannot give you body, it cannot give you the world, it cannot express as Atma without manifestation. Some manifestation has to be there, and that is his potentiality. But for potentiality to express, first he has to, that is his Leela. But as an individual seeker, don't get confused, don't get entangled in the various vocabularies. So whether it is Vaishnava Pada, Paramatma Pada, Atma Pada, it's one and the same. It is, whether it is a wave, whether it is the ocean, or whether it is the infinite waters, it is all the same. Also, I should add cube of ice. Everything is same. H2O. So this opportunity, this possibility to know this Vaishnava Pad, to know this Atma Pada or Paramatma Pad is not available to gods. It's not available to devas. It is not available to any other yoni. It is only moksha is only possible to the human being. So you have already, after millions and zillions of years of evolution, you have reached this point where you are a human being. It's not by mistake. Many people don't even know what is this body. They don't even know that there is life. They know I am alive, but what is this life which is expressing that also they don't know. Only our Vedanta or our Sanatana Dharma explains it clearly. Then after having got this body, are we committed to that for which this body has been given to us? Or are we lost in the same rigmarole of life? Idli 1 week, adai next week. Then again idli 1 week, then again adai next week. So we can attain the Vaishnava Pad by knowing the Atma, by practicing Atma Bhava. You cannot think of, even if you want to realize the Ishvara, you have to do it through, the way to him is through the Atma Bhava. Until unless you don't see the Ishvara as your own innate self, you cannot attain. That is this Jnana Mudra. That is surrender. Surrender does not happen by merely repeating until unless the bhav does not come in. Now, what happens to one who is aviveki? What happens to one? What is his destiny or destination? If one is non-discriminative, who doesn't employ his intellect in the right manner. Here the verse goes, Yastva vijnanavan bhavati, Yastva vijnanavan bhavati, ayuktena manasa sada, ayuktena manasa sada, tasyendriyanyavashyani, tasyendriyanyavashyani, दुष्टाश्वा इव सारथेः, दुष्टाश्वा इव सारथेः, यस्त्वविज्ञानवान् भवति अयुक्तेन मनसा सदा तस्येन्द्रियाण्यवश्यानि दुष्टाश्वा इव सारथेः. यह तू अविज्ञानवान भवति. But if avijnanavan, the one who is not intelligent, the one who is not employing the art of discrimination, who is not ready to use his intellect in the right manner, bhavati, ayuktena manasa sada. Such a person is having ayuktena. He is continuously having a mind which is not properly yoked. What happens when the strings are loose in a sitar or a veena? What happens if the wires are loose or they are not tightened properly? The where they are tethered, that is loose, the screw is off. What happens? The moment you go to play the music, if it is loose, there will be no music coming out of it. And if the screw is out, if it is not tethered properly, the strings just come out of the guitar or the sitar. Ayuktena manasa sada. So such a mind is out of control. For an unintelligent person, for a person who is not employing his intellect in a discriminative manner, his mind is always out of control. What does it mean to his mind is always out of control? When I say his, you automatically put /her, okay? So what does it mean to be for the mind to be out of control? Someone tell me. What does it mean for the mind to be out of control?
Scattered, attached. Sorry.
हाँ बोलो शैलेंद्र.
Scattered, attached to the body and mind.
Attached, okay. Anyone else?
Always identified with worldly objects.
Yes. Always identified with worldly objects. Another way to put it is, it doesn't know. हिंदी में बोलते हैं ये खाऊं कि वो खाऊं. उसको इंग्लिश में कैसे बोलेंगे? Should I eat this or should I eat that? The buffet is available in front of him. What is the buffet? The entire world outside and the entire world inside. What is the world? The world of outside is waking and dream, and the world of inside is sleep. Or you can put it, sleep and dream is the world of inside and world of waking is the outside. He doesn't know what to do. Sometimes in the waking he's in the waking and he is dreaming with eyes open. You must have such people, you know. They are driving the car and scratching their head and banging the steering wheel and you must have also done. You are eating the food and watching TV. You're nowhere we are 100%. Lack of being 100% with what is presenting to us by life. That ability comes from the intellect. You leave the mind, it will eat also, it will listen, continuously looking at the WhatsApp also, there the news is going or the serial is going. And the ears are open for many other things. And all this eventually leads, it keeps building pressure and again and because it's not one day. You are exposed to it because you are nowhere you are 100% available. There are others. Multitaskers, they say. But when you are trying to do too much at a time, in a given moment, if we are not discriminative, it will lead to an unhealthy condition. But if we are discriminative, then let it happen. There is no pressure on your head, no. If your attention is continuously on the self, if the mind is able to do 100 things, let it do. You are not what do you call, initiating it. See? But in general, here the principle is, if the intellect is non-discriminative, ayuktena manasa sada, the mind will always be volatile, it will be always out of control, it will be always in flux, it will always never settle on anything. And you can see these things but just by looking at people's eyes, or how they walk, or how they move about. Their body language tells everything. Some people, when they are talking, they cannot hold gaze. They continue looking here, looking there, looking there, looking there, looking there. It's not healthy. So if the mind is not under control, it is continuously in flux, what will be the situation of the horses? They are running after whatever each one is thinking. He is saying, I only want beautiful fragrance. Another is saying, I want only beautiful forms and colors. Another is saying, I want only beautiful sound. Another one is saying, I want only beautiful taste. And mind is going crazy. Mind is going crazy because it cannot control. It is not under control. What do I do with all this data that is coming in? Mind does not have decision-making capacity. Intellect has. Then what is mind? Mind is just a container where all data is coming in. It's like a computer. Everything is going in. So many files, so many docs, so many pictures, so many things. Like emails also. I get so many emails, they keep coming. And everyone has their things. But then what do? Are you going to look for each email every time you have to search for it? Then what do? On the side you create folders. You say home, then you say insurance, then you say travel, then you say whatever. So many different categories, and you keep putting your emails into that. So when you want, instead of going through 2-3 years of emails backwards, what are you doing? You are just opening the appropriate folder and accessing the emails, accessing the data. Same thing we do with all our files and photos and everything. Nowadays, the phones are doing it for you automatically, month-wise or week-wise or year-wise. They are making you dumb. Who? The artificial intelligence is making us dumb. This is a negative way of looking at it. It is a blessing in disguise. All this फालतू इंग्लिश में क्या बोलेंगे, unnecessary data, the computer is already, laptop is automatically sorting it out for you. Your intellect is available, your decision capacity is free. You don't have to waste your time thinking about all these things. Then what do? Discriminate, think about the reality. This is the positive way of looking at it. No, if AI happens, then what will happen to us? If someone thinks like that, he is certainly going to be a slave of the AI. यह तु अविज्ञानवान् भवति अयुक्तेन मनसा सदा तस्येन्द्रियाणि अवश्यानि दुष्टाश्वा इव सारथेः. Tasyendriyani avashyani. So the horses are not under control. If the intellect is weak, meaning not discriminative, the mind is ayuktena, which results in uncontrollable horses. Apply it to yourself. What are we obsessed about? Are we obsessed about the reality, or are we obsessed about the world? Are we obsessed about security? Are we obsessed about where the world is going? Obsessed about what will happen to this world? Obsessed about how we were when we were young and what will happen to the children of today. These are general topics which happens in every house. So if this topic was going on 5 years ago in your parties or at a home when people come or you go somewhere, 10 years ago also the same topic, 15 years also ago the same topic when your children were small or you were just married. So what has changed? Nothing. They are still growing, world is still going on. But what we have done? We have wasted that 5, 10, 15, 20 years thinking about the same thing again and again, for which there is no solution. I'll repeat again. In the world, there are no solutions. In the self, in the Atma, in the Lord, no solutions are required. Because there are no questions there. And we also want a resolution in our life. Everyone wants to have, not a New Year resolution. You are all here listening to satsang, you are listening to Brahma Vidya. You have to, just merely listening is not enough. But you are interested in this topic because somewhere it has grabbed your imagination. Somewhere It has struck a chord in your heart. That's why you are listening on a weekly basis. So do justice to it. एक बार खत्म खलास कर दो पूरा का पूरा. Because for 20, 30 years, what we have been doing, still the same questions are coming. What is there for breakfast? What is there for lunch? What is there for dinner? Ooh, it's so cold today. Ooh, it's so hot today. Oh, La Nina came. Oh, it came few years ago. No, that time it was Il Nina. It was a drought time. अच्छा, ऐसे भी होता है. What has changed in your life? What is not under your control, don't worry about it. Worry about what is in your control, or what can come under your control, which you can only control that which you call your own. And what is truly your own? What is truly your own? I'm asking. What is your own? Answer, someone.
Everything.
Huh?
Everything.
Everything is yours. Okay.
From self point.
Self does not think.
Nothing is.
You immediately the opposite side.
No. The reason I said nothing is because if there is anything, then there is duality and ownership.
Correct. Everything that we say as ours, when did it start? From the body, isn't it? But body also you did not create, mind you did not create, breath you did not create, world you did not create. So what is yours? Nothing. Both answers are correct. I'll explain from the other side also. From Ishvara's point of view, everything, because he is all that there is. Not from Atmic point. Huh? From Atma point, Atma is Ekameva Dvitiya. Nanasti Kinchana. Nanasti, there is nothing apart from Atma. So this also we have to be very clear that when we say we are, I want to reach that point where everything is one, everything is inclusive. Yes. So when we say everything is one and everything is inclusive, when everything is inclusive, it is from Ishvara's point of view. When everything is one, without a second, then it is the Atma or the Parabrahman, Paramatma. That is Brahmatmaikya Bodha. That is liberation. Then what is, when you get to Ishvara, what is it? Immortality. One moment, I have to check the Bhashya. Where are we? Where are we, man? Where is this? Part 2. No, I'm not in this. Bhashya.
Swamiji, page 88, Swamiji. Page 88.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm looking at it on the, anyway, doesn't matter. I don't want to spend looking into the computer where it is. I got the thing here. So, Let's see what he says. The last part he says, Dushta ashva iva sarathehe. So, Dushta ashwa, bad horse. Bad horse means what? Bad senses. What are bad senses? Which are not under the control of the Sarathi, which are not under the control of intellect, which is not discriminative. How much time does it take to be discriminating, to be discriminative? How much time it takes to shift the attention from the outside to the within? How long does it take? I'm not saying put your attention on the world or the senses or on the mind. To be, to bring your attention of the intellect to contemplate on the constant principle. How long does it take?
Nothing.
Instantaneous, isn't it? Instantaneous. Here we are talking from sadhana point of view. We are being hijacked outside in this particular verse. The sarthi is weak, the intellect is weak, and the wild horses are not in his control. Why? Because discrimination is not being employed at the level of the intellect. If we are saying that we are miserable in this life, why I was born, why I should have born during, when Ramchandraji was there. I should have born when Krishna was there. Why? Why is the world like that? Because you are like that. Can't blame the world. World has always been the same. The fault is in your eyes. The fault is in our disposition. Just now someone said nothing and someone said everything, isn't it? Someone says half full, someone says half empty. These are just, but is that discrimination? No. And yet we are speaking about it. So all this reading and studying and going through the Upanishads and the Bhashya, for whom is it? Is it for the body? No. Is it for the senses? No.
For the intellect.
Correct. Is it for the mind? What will mind do with so much data?
Get more confused.
You know the welcome to the club. We all have gone through that period, isn't it? When too much data is coming, अरे यार ये समझ नहीं आता है. It's too much. It's talking about this. Somewhere it is talking about that. Somewhere it is saying this. Somewhere it is saying that. क्या करेंगे? It's too much word. But it is a good sign when you are feeling that way. It is a point where the vairagya will be invoked. But instead, what do? We stop studying the scriptures, we stop doing the japa, we stop doing everything and go back to our old habits. It is good. The fact that you are getting frustrated with the whole thing is because you were contemplating. That's why you got frustrated. Meaning the mind. Frustration is in the mind, not in the intellect. Tatra evam, the bhashya, tatra evam sati yah tu buddhyakhyah sarathihi avijnanavan nipunaha aviveki pravrittau cha nivrittau cha bhavati. So, but when it happens like this, what is that? When the Sarathi is avijnanavan. When the Sarathi, the intellect, is non-discriminative, when it happens like this, the Shankaracharya is saying, it becomes the Sarathi avijnanavan nipuna, vijnanavan anipunaha, anipunaha. Nipun means expert, dexterous, capable. The intellect becomes incapable, anipunaha. Aviveki, it becomes non-discriminative, it becomes incapable of making decisions. Aviveki pravrittau cha nivruttau cha bhavati. And it does not know when to get involved and when to withdraw. A small child, when people are around, it keeps playing. Sometimes some children don't want to go to sleep. You try to put them to sleep, they scream, they cry. They are tired, but they don't want to miss out. But they don't realize that they are becoming cranky as a result of that, isn't it? Positive side would be, look at a child, we must be involved in the world till we drop dead, Meaning, with joy we involve, not by complaining. So when to pravritti, to involve, nivritti, to withdraw. And a non-discriminative intellect is incapable of knowing, because what happens in intellect? I'm asking the question. What happens in intellect?
The data gets processed.
Differently, think differently.
Discrimination happens.
Discrimination.
Different. Intellect is the place where the I comes, isn't it? I is reflected. So that I does not know to get involved or not to get involved. I'm just putting it in a different way, that's all. Then confusion reigns. खाऊं या ना खाऊं, सोऊं के नहीं सोऊं, इन्वॉल्व हूं के नहीं हूं. So just as the senses are not able to discriminate about anything, the Sarathi also is coming to that position where, or if he is not discriminating, he becomes incapable. And just like horses, what are horses doing? Run here, run there, run there, run there, all five of them. The intellect is also not, the I in the intellect, should I go with him, or should I go with that, or should I go with this, or should I go with him? He's pulled in 5 different directions. What is such condition called? Doctors know. When mind is pulled in all different directions without any semblance, without any conclusion, without any decision making capacity, क्या होता है? Depression आ जाता है धीरे धीरे. Here is the science of how to come out of depression. Never give in to anyone's self-pity. When I say anyone's, I'm talking about your mind. Not, that is true, I'll check my wife, or I'll check my husband. No. We are talking here about our mind. It wants attention, it wants cajoling, it wants, It goes into self-pity. Mainly all this is doing because it wants attention. Don't get into that. So this viveki, this aviveki, this intellect, it is incapable of employing the nivritti pravritti, when to involve and when to withdraw from the world, from the senses. Just like senses don't know when to withdraw or when to involve. If something comes, they see. Eyes have got only one job, to see. Ears have, you like it or not. They forget, you get out of the system. Just look at the senses. They are at the mercy of their stimuli. It is someone else who is controlling. Hey, I don't want to listen to that. He will come and close. Ears cannot close themselves. 87, 88. च भवति यथेतरः रथचर्यायाम् अयुक्तेन अप्रगृहीतेन असमाहितेन मनसा प्रग्रहस्थानीयेन सदा युक्तः भवति. He says, so we have talked about the pravrittau cha nivrittau cha bhavati. Then after that, so if a person, see, remember in our Yoga Sutra, or many times, if you remember, I have mentioned this point, that we have 5 types of mind, isn't it? Moodha, Kshipta, Vikshipta, Ekagra and Niruddha. Moodha is dull mind, Kshipta is agitated, restless mind, Vikshipta is distracted mind, Niruddha is no mind. All these are unhealthy conditions of the mind in various grades. As a seeker, don't go after any of those 4. Then which one do we want? We want ekagra chitta. We want single pointed mind. But when the reins are in the hands of an incapable charioteer, what is happening to the reins? They are flapping away uncontrollably. What is such a mind called? Either it is, in a normal human being, it is called vikshipta mana, or it is kshipta mana. Reactionary, uncontrollable, obsessive, thought fixated, depressed. Losing the plot wherever it is placed. So when it says, apragrahitena samahitena manasa. So when it says agrahitena, it means another word for it, for apragrahitena means vikshipta. It means vikshipta, distracted. Now just observe yourself. At this moment, are you with every word that is coming to you? Or even while the words are coming to you, you are with yourself. Which one? See? Or the worst case scenario. While you are listening, I can't see you are answering phone calls, you are drinking tea, you are having your meals, you are checking have your children come back home, or who rang the bell, or what happened there, or what happened in the other room. Are the children behaving themselves? और सडनली द पकोड़ा स्मेल इज कमिंग, हाँ सत्संग फटाफट खत्म हो जाए यार, फिर पकोड़े खाएंगे, इट्स सो कोल्ड, इट विल बी नाइस विथ टी एंड पकोड़ा. बट यू जस्ट हैड लंच. नहीं नहीं यार, पकोड़े के लिए एनी टाइम वी आर रेडी. दिस इज कॉल्ड विक्षिप्त मना. So three levels, three ways I have explained to you. One is in the outside world, one is if you think that no, I am not like that, the worst case scenario, I am good, I am listening. That is only Madhyama Adhikari. Uttam Adhikari, while listening, ears are listening, but his attention is on the constant principle. So here, why I am explaining this? We are talking about distracted mind. Distracted mind cannot be single pointed. Remember, mood, kshipta, vikshipta, niruddha. Vikshipta man, distracted mind is not qualified to know the truth. Mind can never come to know the truth, that is true. But if we have to choose out of these 5 conditions of the mind, we must choose single pointed mind, which is focused, which is alert, which is vigilant. Which way is it going? Am I going outwards or am I going inwards? अप्रगृहीतेन असमाहितेन मनसा प्रग्रह स्थानीयेन सदा युक्तो भवति तस्य अकुशलस्य बुद्धिसारथेः इंद्रियाणि अश्वस्थानीयानि अश्वस्यानि अशक्य निवारणानि दुष्टाश्वा अदान्ताश्वा इव एतरसार्थेः भवन्ति. So we have talked about this already when I was explaining the verse. So here what is he saying? That tasya akushalasya buddhisarathe, that when the mind is when we talked about agrahit, that meant vikshipta mana, vikshipta chitta means the mind, vikshipta mind, distracted mind is there of the person, because we are talking about what? If you look at the chariot is not for chariot is for someone, isn't it? There is a lord of the chariot. If this is the chariot, the body is the chariot, senses are the horses, mind is the reins, intellect is the charioteer. So for whom it is? For whom is this chariot called the body? With the senses and the reins and the intellect. It is for I. And in this person, in this me, and in this body chariot, if the mind is distracted, here it says that then the intellect is anipuna, it is incapable. Again the same, there's nothing, I have already explained it. So it becomes anipuna, it becomes the Sarathi, the charioteer, becomes incapable. In other words, you want to apply it on yourself. Who is the charioteer? Your buddhi. What happens to buddhi? It becomes incapable of functioning. This is when all the schizophrenia and multipolar disorders, all this, totally lost the plot. Why? No discrimination. So, for such a person, for such an intellect, for such a incapable charioteer, he cannot control the horses then. And they become out of control. Here it is told, Indriyani avasthaniyani avashyani. The condition, avasthani, condition of indriyani, meaning the senses. Avashyani means they become uncontrollable. Any of you go for window shopping? Don't answer. People can watch. If you are an addicted window shopper, just let's go and see what is for sale today. I don't want to buy anything, but let's go. This is the condition. Lot of young girls nowadays, this is their condition. For them, relaxation, meditation means go for window shopping. Technically, window shopping means you go only looking for something, don't buy anything. Why? I don't want to miss out on if something is important there, For some people, going and spending money is relaxation. They'll go window shopping, come back with a whole bootload of clothes and this and that. We have all come across people like that. Maybe we have been ourselves like that. Avashyani. So Indriyani, Asthanini, क्या है? Indriyani, Ashwasthani, Ashwasthaniyani, and Avashyani. Avashyani is incontrollable, uncontrollable. Ashakya Nivaranani. Ashakya. It is impossible to control them. Impossible to control. These out of control horses, meaning these out of control senses. Dushta ashwa adanta ashwa iva etarasarthehe bhavanti. So nothing can be, without a discriminative intellect, senses cannot be brought under control. And therefore, those senses which cannot be brought under control, they are called as dushta horses, bad horses, meaning bad senses, uncontrollable senses. Or we can use another word, wild horses. Wild senses. What is the wildness here? They only want to keep engaging in the jungle. Jungle of this world. Such people, those who are like that, uncontrollable, every day they will have a bucket list. Today I have to do this, tomorrow I have to do that, I have to see this part of the world, I have to see that part of the world, I have to buy these clothes, I have to buy these designer clothes, I have to buy this house, I have to buy that car, I have to do this charity, I have to do that charity, I have to build this temple, I have to build that temple, I have to go and meet that Mahatma. We are also going in that. I have to meet this Mahatma, I have to meet that Mahatma. कब तक? करना चाहिए, मैं मना नहीं कर रहा हूँ, महात्मा को मिलना चाहिए, बट सम डे इट मस्ट स्टॉप. You are the source of everything. Madatma Sarvabhutatma. The day it clicks, running will stop. So so such an intellect which cannot control the horses, which cannot control the mind. Why? It is weak. Why is it weak? Because lack of discrimination. Nature is bringing the intellect to sleep every night so that it can be face to face with reality every night, and it becomes rejuvenated, fresh, re-energized to live the day. But in the spiritual pursuit, this is not enough. It is a rut. Involuntarily we are going to sleep. Involuntarily we are, without knowing, we are getting charged up. Without discrimination, we are expending all the energy during the day. And again, involuntarily, we are going to sleep. It's a cyclical going on. Take charge. Take charge. For that, alertness and vigilance is required. For alertness and vigilance to happen, discrimination must be invoked in the intellect. It must be put in that direction. So what are we doing right now through all these words? We are discriminating. We are seeing how our senses, our mind sometimes lose the plot. We all have seen. Now you understand that whenever we have lost the plot, it is because the intellect has been non-discriminative. And what will happen? That intellect, then kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya will be the way it will go. Many people feel proud. I am an angry person. ये भी कोई, is it a cap that you are wearing? I am an angry person. I am a reactive person. You have to accept me or don't accept me. Who cares? Is being reactive, is it healthy? They can't even see that it is not healthy. This is me. No, you have to grow out of it. You have to come to the poise. So now, this was what was talked about was a charioteer who is incapable, a nipuna. Now, a charioteer who is capable. That picture will be presented to us because these are the consequences. If a chariot is moving in the world, and in the world there are always two armies. The good and the bad. when this I is moving through life, every moment there is option. And how do you make a decision which way to go? Are we going to be Duryodhana who knows what is right but is continuously succumbs to what is wrong? Because who was his charioteer? You know, Shakuni, the gambler. And who was Arjuna's charioteer? Lord himself. Who is our charioteer? A person who is making $1 million? A person who is the best dancer in this world? A person who is the best father or the best mother? A person who has got the best family, enough money, planes, houses, and all the children love him, all the grandchildren love him. Is that your goal? Is that your charioteer? Is Lord your charioteer? Choose. Choose wisely. Because whatever we choose, we have to, and we choose every moment we are making decisions, knowingly or unknowingly. And you are all sitting here because you have made a decision. Now that you are here, let's go one step more within. Let's bring to the seat of the charioteer the discriminative ability. Who is the most discriminative person? Is the Lord himself, who has given us the scriptures which are talking about discrimination. See? Put him in that place. All this is good. I want to be the Atma and everything. But first, purify. That purification means withdrawing from the world. To withdraw from the world, you have to withdraw from the senses. To withdraw from the senses, you have to withdraw from the mind. To withdraw from the mind, you have to have the vairagya in the intellect that the world is not a interesting place. It's okay, it's there. But it can never give me final conclusion. The world cannot liberate me. Only the Lord can. His grace can. This conclusion we have to make in our mind. I don't know what's in the next verse, but I hope I have not already covered the points. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati. 6th verse. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati yuktena manasa sada. Yuktena manasa sada. Tasyendriyani vashyani. Tasyendriyani vashyani. Sadashva iva sarathe. Sadashva iva sarathe. Together. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati yuktena manasa sada. Tasyendriyani vashyani. Sadashva iva sarathe. But that charioteer, that charioteer in the form of intellect, which is capable, vijnanavan bhavati, who has intelligence, And what is intelligence? Intelligence is common sense. What we are repeating in Bhagavad Gita, in Upanishads, in Panchadashi, it's common sense. Is the most simplest thing. So, are we complicating things in our intellect? Or are we keeping it simple? In spite of all the data. Important point. Whether the data is coming from Upanishads or whether the data is coming from the world. It's data only, no? Are we getting confused with the data, or we are interacting with the data in such a way that we become capable? The intellect becomes capable. Who is a vairagi or a sannyasi? Who has learned from the mistakes of other people. So he took sannyas. Who are we in this world? We keep making the same mistake, but we are not learning. If the wire is live wire is there, naked wire, if it giving you current, once or twice you can make a mistake, sometimes by mistake, but purposely going and checking, nahi, I'm going to show that I don't get electrocuted. बेवकूफ है. No. World is wonderful. If I touch the world, if I look, see, hear, touch, feel, taste the world, if I think about the world, if I remember the world, nothing is going to happen to me. It is good. It is my relations. It is my possessions. It is my life. It is my body. It is my disease. It is my imagination. It is my waking. It is my dream. It is my sleep. लगे रहो भैया. How much disservice? मतलब we are not ready to learn. We are not ready to learn. Yesterday only some example came. Example came means I am the example. I went to help someone. And I gave them someone's number. And he is a good person. So he said, yeah, Swamiji, if you tell me something, I'll do it for them. And went there. Something had to be done. Bathroom, this, that, everything. He is a person who does everything. Plumbing bhi kar leta. Plumbing, electrical, this, that, everything. Carpentry, bricklaying, everything. All in one package. And he does it only as a hobby. As a part-time. He's got a full-time job. So went to someone's house. We went. He's checking it out. Suddenly a 21-year-old daughter, an expression of the verse number 4 came. Verse number 4, avijnanavan, anipuna came and started saying, how much you are going to charge? What is the quote? He says, darling, I have just come, I am just looking at it. No, give me a quote, give me an idea, give me a he says, I can't. "21-year-old doesn't even know her own mind, in depression, coming, and eventually she screamed at that person, please get out of my house." That fellow also has 2 daughters. They are also similar age. He says these things happen, no grudges, I understand, but I'm not coming back to work there ever. So what is the lesson? He learned the lesson that he's not going to go. I learned the lesson what? Should I continue to recommend him? Or have I learned the lesson? The world is always like that. We must not stop doing good, but the world is always like that. Sometimes everything goes smoothly, sometimes things don't go smoothly. But are we here to see whether the world is going well or world is not going well? Are we here for that purpose? Or are we here only for one purpose, which is Atma Sakshatkar? Vijnanavan. Yastu Vijnanavan bhavati yuktena manasa sada. If the intellect in the form of charioteer, if it is intelligent, if it is having common sense, if it is having discrimination, then in such a person, the mind, yuktena manasa sada, mind will always be under check. The mind, it will ever be, what is ayuktena and what is yuktena? Before it was ayuktena. It was, what was the word? Vikshipt, distracted, agitated, restless, etc., etc., depressed. What is yuktena? Yuktena means, doesn't mean it is a good mind. It is an equanimous mind. What is an equanimous mind? Which neither tilts this way too much, neither tilts that. Balanced mind. What is a balanced mind? The mind with the right tension. The string on the guitar with the right tension brings out music. The reins on the horse in the right tension will take the chariot wherever it is required, whatever the destination is set. Therefore, so for such a person, for such an intellect, or for such a charioteer, the senses are senses behave in such a way when a capable charioteer, in a hand of capable charioteer, through the reins, the horses behave properly. So if our senses are not under control, if our mind is not under control, don't blame the senses and the mind. Blame your discriminative capacity. Blame or take charge of your decision-making capacity. And decision is always constant versus non-constant. Am I the constant one or am I the changing one? Am I the finite one or am I the infinite one? Am I the changeless one or I am the changing one? What is our experience? This must be our theme of contemplation in and through the day, in and through our life, daily. This must be our pastime. Make it a hobby. हो गया टाइम यार. So on a positive note, we are leaving last. This week's contemplation, Is our intellect, is our charioteer here? Avijnanavan, anipuna, or is it Vijnanavan and Nipuna? Is it capable? It is intelligent, it is discriminating, or it is non-discriminating and incapable. For an incapable one, horses are not listening to him, and for a capable one, the horses are always listening. What it means, the horses listening and not listening, I'll explain next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om everyone.